name is Hans, and this is my buddy Hans. Welcome to Cooking with Marijuana, the gourmet menu. We're going to show you how to take marijuana and turn it into a more palatable form. The first thing we will demonstrate is how to make marijuana flour. We will then take the flour and show you how to make marijuana butter and marijuana oil. When making marijuana flour, you may use the leaf or the bud. You simply grind it up. When cooking with marijuana, remember that 2 ounces of leaf equals about 14 to 16 grams of commercial marijuana or 4 to 6 grams of excellent homegrown sensimean, which is what we will be using in all of our dishes. When making marijuana flour from bud, be sure to trim off all of the excess leaves and remove all the stems. We will now take these nice sensimean buds and put them in the food processor. Now let's blend them up. We have turned marijuana buds into flour. Before we go any further, we would like to give you a little warning about eating marijuana. When you smoke marijuana, you have a joint or so, and you reach a certain plateau. The same is not true when eating marijuana. When you eat it, it may take anywhere from a half of an hour to an hour and a half before you start feeling the effect. So you don't want to eat marijuana and say, gee, I don't feel anything, and then immediately eat some more. You should know exactly how much you eat. For our menus, we will be suggesting 1 gram of sensimean buds per serving. The first thing we will show you is how to make marijuana butter. Chef Hans will place the pound of butter in the large saucepan of boiling water. And there it goes into the saucepan. And we'll just let that melt. To our pound of melted butter, we will add our cup of megabuds. And we'll stir this up occasionally. There's the megabuds into the butter. We will let this low boil for about a half an hour. The liquid is then separated from the matter by simply straining through a cheesecloth, as we're doing right here. A second extraction of the bud material may be made using a 1/4 pound of butter. It may then be added to the first extraction of butter. The used bud material is then discarded. The THC is now in suspension with the butter. I'm going to let this cool off a bit, then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. The THC in the butter will rise and solidify on the top, and the liquid will remain on the bottom. The butter and water have cooled in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. The butter has returned to its solid form, capturing the psychoactive THC within it. All I have to do now is scoop the butter from the top and place it in this bowl. The original cup of megabud flour was about 48 grams. This means that for every teaspoon of mega butter in it, there is about 1/2 gram of mega sensimean bud extract. We therefore suggest you start with 2 teaspoons as a portion and work yourself up from there each time you try it till you discover what is the correct portion for you. We will be using this mega butter in all of our dishes. You may use it wherever you would use butter in most dishes. Don't you worry about the butter having this green color to it. It won't affect any of your cooking at all. And there you are. I guarantee this butter will do the trick. Just a little bit on some rolls with some jelly. Next, we will demonstrate how to blend marijuana into your favorite alcohol. First, we will take our nice dry sesame bud and blend it into a flour like we have right here. We will now take our alcohol and pour it into the bowl. The alcohol will break down the trichromes and the THC will go into suspension with the alcohol. We have that in the bowl. We will place 28 grams into the bowl. All right, a little bit more than 28 grams if you insist. Be careful now. Hans and I have used about 28 ounces of 151 rum. Therefore, 1 ounce of alcohol will contain 1 gram of megabud. Use a beverage with a high content of alcohol. The liquid is strained through cheesecloth and stored in a dark, cool place for a couple of days. I warn you, handle with care. And there it is. We're now going to make marijuana oil. We will pour exactly 28 ounces of extra virgin olive oil into this bowl. To this, we will add exactly 28 grams of our sesame megabud flour. And we'll stir that up. When you blend the marijuana with the oil breaks down the trichromes and the psychoactive substances come into suspension with it. When you eat marijuana, the liver converts it into 11-hydroxy-THC. The 11-hydroxy-THC is 4 times as potent as marijuana, which is smoked when eaten. We now have marijuana oil. 1 ounce of the extra virgin olive oil is equal to 1 gram of megabuds, which is our suggested portion. Let sit a few days in the refrigerator, then use within a week. For our first course, we will make a Caesar salad for 2. The ingredients will be 1 teaspoon of fresh garlic, 2 ounces of our special marijuana olive oil, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, 2 anchovies, a splash of hot sauce, a splash of Worcestershire, and a few grains of salt, plus the juice of half a lemon. The first thing we want to do is mix the garlic with our special marijuana oil. This will put the taste of the garlic into the oil. In goes 2 tasty anchovies. Once he has that pureed, he will add the other ingredients. A couple of drops of hot Tabasco. Next, a splash or 2 of Worcestershire. Then 2 tablespoons of our balsamic vinegar. Chef Hans will puree the mixture till it is well blended. Then he will add the Dijon mustard. And of course, he's going to puree some more. The juice of a half of a lemon is squeezed into the bowl. And for us cheese lovers, the Parmesan is sprinkled in. Just a pinch of salt. Then we're going to add our succulent romaine and assorted lettuces. The more fresh, the better. These were just picked from our garden. Now, he will toss them a bit to mix the lettuce and the flavorings. Not only will it taste nice, it will be nice. Chef Hans will serve 1/2 of the Caesar. Someone else gets the other half, of course. He will then sprinkle a small amount of Parmesan on top. Sesame Caesar salad. Our second delicious course will be veal marsalis. The ingredients are 3 thinly sliced pieces of veal, 1/2 cup of assorted mushrooms. Here we will be using baby portobellos and your standard white mushroom. We have 2 ounces of demi-glace, about a 1/2 cup of marsala wine, 1 tablespoon of our mega butter, and some flour. The first thing you will want to do is slice your mushrooms. Then you will want to get your pan smoking hot. Next, we will dredge the veal in the flour. Chef Hans will flour both sides lightly. A little extra virgin olive oil is added to the really hot pan. The veal is carefully placed into the pan. We will cook the veal till it has nicely browned. Make sure they don't stick. Then we will flip each piece of the veal over and we will brown the other side. Ooh, doesn't that look nice? This takes just a minute to do this. Brown nicely on both sides, the veal is removed from the pan and placed in a small plate. The oil is removed from the pan, and in it we will place our mushrooms. And we'll shake them up a little bit, give them a stir. We will add our marsala wine, which will deglaze the pan for us. Chef Hans is a professional. You should remove the pan from the flame before adding the wine. The stock is then added and cooked to reduce. This will cook and flavor the mushrooms. Doesn't that look nice? The veal is placed back into the hot pan. It is cooked for about 1/2 minute on each side. It is then removed from the pan and placed back on the plate again. Our special mega butter is added and quickly melted. The sauce is immediately poured over the veal. Remember, you're not supposed to smoke this. On top, we will sprinkle just a bit of flour of the bud for taste. Veal marsalis. Our third course is a salmon with a bleu blanc. The ingredients are this nice salmon steak, salt, pepper, garlic, parsley, and a little regular oil, some white wine, and 1 tablespoon of our mega bud flour. We will also be adding 1/4 to 1/3 cup of regular butter. A small amount of oil is poured on the salmon. This will hold the salt, the pepper, the parsley, and the garlic. The ingredients are rubbed onto both sides of the salmon. Extra virgin olive oil is poured into our hot pan, just a bit. The pan is really hot. The salmon goes into the pan and immediately begins to sizzle. Chef Hans will cook the salmon about 30 seconds on each side. The salmon is then removed and placed into this shallow dish. About a half a cup of wine is poured around the salmon. This will help with the cooking process. After that, we will go directly into a 350-degree oven. Into an empty pan, Chef Hans will pour about 1/2 cup of wine. There's the wine. He will add a small dab of garlic, to taste of course. Then he will add those megabuds. Look at those nice megabuds. Not too much. We'll stir that around a bit. You will only need a low boil for this mixture. The regular butter is then added to the sauce. Here's our regular butter. And be sure to not put mega butter in here. You'll be in trouble. It is cooked for about a minute, constantly being attended to. I can smell that from here. It not only smells good, it is guaranteed to satisfy your entire appetite. We're going to stir it a little bit more here. This will break down the trichromes and make the marijuana more palatable. The salmon has been cooking for about 15 to 20 minutes. It is medium rare to medium. Placed in your dish, it is almost ready to enjoy. Doesn't that look appetizing? Our Bleu Blanc is piping hot and ready to finish off this great piece of salmon. Pour steaming across the top of this nice scrumptious steak. There you are, salmon with a Bleu Blanc. For our fourth course, we will prepare an enlightening vert sala. Waiting to be cooked, the ingredients are 4 to 5 1-inch cubes of fresh salmon, 4 to 5 scallops, 2 diced green onions, some salt, some white pepper, some black pepper, some garlic, 1 cup of heavy cream, 1/4 to 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese, 2 medium leaves of chopped basil, plus 1 tablespoon of our fabulous megabud flour. The ingredients will be served over this pasta. While our pan is getting piping hot, we will take our salmon, our scallops, a few more of our scallops, then we'll add some spices. A pinch of salt, spread a little black pepper, then spread a little white pepper. Let's add some of these onions. Very good. You know, Chef Hans really likes green onions. And a bit of garlic, of course, to taste. A few tablespoons of olive oil is added to the really hot pan. The oil is swirled around, making sure the oil covers the entire bottom of the pan. Chef Hans will test the heat of the pan by placing his hand well above the pan. The colorful ingredients are seared for just a few seconds in the extremely hot pan. Don't let them burn. Shake them up there a little bit, Chef Hans. There you are. A bit more olive oil is added and the mixture is shaken. Each piece of seafood is turned and seared on both sides. That looks nice. Remove the seafood only from the pan once it has been totally seared on each side. The remaining ingredients will receive a little wine to deglaze the pan. You should remove your pan away from the fire when adding the flammable wine. We will douse our flame with our 1 cup of cream. The pan continues to boil because we're using a hot pan and a large fire. Sprinkle in the fragrant basil and then give it a stir. We will let that reduce for 3 or 4 minutes, stirring constantly so as not to burn. We will reduce that until the sauce has a nice, thick consistency, such as this right here. Megabud flour is sprinkled on top and then stirred into the sauce. The cream will assist in breaking down the trichromes and make the marijuana more palatable. Chef Hans will add a little Parmesan. There we are. And of course, to taste. Chef Hans likes Parmesan, so he's going to add a little bit more. The seared seafood is returned to the sauce. This will equally heat all the ingredients together. It only takes a minute of cooking to do this. That looks good, Chef Hans. Smells good too. The seafood and mega sauce are spooned onto the waiting pasta. That does smell good. It looks good and will taste good too, not to mention its other pleasures. Verit Sala. Our fifth course is something I think you will all like. It's pot pie. Hans, is that with one pot or two? This array of ingredients begins with 4 grams of nice megabud flour, 1 package of ready-made pie shells, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, a teaspoon of salt, a dash of pepper, a dash of thyme, 2/3 of a cup of chicken broth, 1/2 of a cup of cream, 1½ cup of cooked diced chicken, and 1/2 cup of peas, 1/2 cup of baby carrots, 1 cup of cooked diced potatoes, 1/4 cup of diced onion, and there you are. First, we will make our roux. Placing our dry ingredients into a pan over a medium heat, the flour goes in first. After our flour, we will add some thyme. There's the thyme. This is followed by just a little bit of black pepper. Then a small pinch of salt to taste. Mix it up a bit. 2 tablespoons of regular butter are added to form a thick roux. Simply dissolve the dry ingredients into the melted butter, as you see here. Next, we will add our 2/3 cup of chicken broth, and we will turn our fire up a little bit. Next, we'll add our cream. That's 1/2 of a cup. Stir and bring it to a boil. Once a boil is reached, cook and stir for about another minute. After it's cooked for a minute, we will add our already cooked chicken. 1 1/2 cup. We'll put in our peas, then these beautiful and tasty baby carrots. We'll toss a few of our beans in there. Then we'll add some of our potatoes. After that, our onions. There's the onions. Chef Hans likes those onions. And our megabud flour. Be sure all of that gets in there, Hans. Not too much. This is blended, removed from the heat, and put into the pie shell. There are just enough ingredients to fill this shell. Spread everything evenly to the edge. No bulges in the center. Now, we will take another ready-made pie crust and use it to cover the top of our pot pie. Simply lay the pie shell over the top like this and use the tips of your fingers to lightly seal the edge of the crust as you slowly turn the pie. Using your thumbs and forefingers, pinch the edge of the crust in this fashion as you slowly turn the pie. This will give you a nice decorative edge, as you see Chef Hans doing right now. Very simple to do. Once that is done, press the edge of the pan with your fingers and you may trim off any excess dough. The extra dough may be used, if you wish, as a decoration for the top of your pie. Chef Hans has made 4 diamonds. He will cut a small slit on the side of each decoration. This will prevent the top of the crust from trapping air beneath it. And there you are. We will now place our pot pie into the oven for approximately 30 minutes, or it will cook at 350 degrees. Thank you, Hans. Let's get our pot pie. It smells really nice. Bring it over here, Hans. When we say pie, we mean pot pie. For our 6th course, lobster. That is 1 lobster tail, some lemon slices, 1/4 cup of regular butter with 1 gram of megabud flour mixed in it, and our red rose garnish. It requires a sharp pair of heavy-duty scissors to cut open the back shell of the lobster tail. This will allow us easy access to the lobster after it is cooked. We have a large pot of boiling water which we have added a lemon cut in half. We will not only put our lobster in the pot, we will also put a little pot in our lobster. Our nice Sensimian Megabud butter will be put into this small saucepan and melted. Into the saucepan, get it all in there, Hans. We're going to bring the butter to a boil. It'll take just a moment. We'll let it boil for about half a minute. It will get nice and hot and frothy, and that's just the way I like it when I eat my lobster. Is Chef Hans taking a break? I believe he is. The lobster has been cooking for 6 to 8 minutes. Let's see if it is done. We will simply peer inside and check. This lobster is thoroughly cooked. Chef Hans will now take the lobster tail out of its shell. Peel the shell back from the front to the rear. Grab the end of the meat and the shell of the tail, give a tug, and voila! The lemon wedges are placed in the shallow dish in a circle around the lobster. We will add our ornamental rose garnish and, of course, our Megabud butter. And there you are. Just a little bit of lemon for a lobster that will light you up. Our next main course before dessert is going to be stoner spaghetti, and it's going to be real good. Chef Hans will prepare some vegetables. The ingredients are 1 16-ounce pack of noodles, 6 ounces tomato paste, 1 small diced onion, 1 teaspoon of garlic. In this bowl, 28 grams of stewed tomatoes and a splash of our nice wine. About 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil will be added to our really hot pan. In go our onions, and then our garlic. We will mix and cook them for a moment, allowing their flavors to mingle. The onions and garlic are sweated for about a minute. Then the red bell peppers are added. Mix those up a little bit. Then the green bell peppers. And mix them a bit also. Shake them up. The oregano comes next, and then the parsley. After that, just a pinch of black pepper to taste. A pinch of salt is added also. Now a sprinkle of those nice Italian herbs. Let's mix that up just a bit again. Now we'll add some of our wine. Just give it a shake again. Looks good, Chef Hans. We are now ready for our stewed tomatoes. Our pan is really hot, and as you can see, it stays hot even with the addition of the stewed tomatoes. The high temperature will immediately heat the new items as they're placed in the pan. The sauce will continue to boil and cook. Chef Hans is adding 6 ounces of tomato paste. We'll mix that up, stir that around a bit, and continue to boil over a hot fire. Ooh, there's those megabuds. Reduce for a few minutes until the sauce is the consistency which you like. The sauce is placed into a saucepan. It will then be placed on the fire over a medium heat, and it will be allowed to cook for a while. It will cook until our noodles are ready. It should be stirred occasionally so it doesn't burn. This sauce is smelling up the whole kitchen and will certainly stimulate your appetite. Our pound of noodles are placed into a pot of boiling water. Make sure all your noodles are submerged under the boiling water. Get down there, noodles. These noodles have cooked between 10 to 12 minutes. They are now ready to be drained and immediately served while they are still piping hot. We will place 1 serving of noodles onto our plate and 1 nice heaping helping ladle of our megabud sauce. A sprinkle of Parmesan, and there it is, stoner spaghetti. For our last menu and dessert today, we are making Bananas Foster. It is so good, we're making it for 2, so be sure to share it with a friend. Our ingredients will be 1/4 to 1/3 cup of brown sugar, the juice of an orange, the juice of half a lemon, 1/4 to 1/3 cup of banana liqueur, and 1 ounce of rum. 1 banana, a scoop of ice cream, and just a pinch of cinnamon. Hans will slice our ripe banana into 4 equal parts. We begin by placing our nice megabud butter into the pan and our brown sugar. We will stir the mega butter and the sugar. The megabud butter has melted nicely in our hot pan. We will then squeeze in the juice of half of an orange and half a lemon. And there's the juice. Next, the bananas are placed flat side up in the boiling juices. They are cooked about a minute on one side, then turned to the other side. We're going to add us some brown sugar here, a little bit more orange. Turn those over now. They're nice and fuzzy on the cooked side. Shake them up a bit. Next, we're going to add our banana liqueur and our rum. You should remove the pan from the fire before adding the flammable alcohol. We'll cook this for just about a minute longer, then sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon evenly across the top. The cooked bananas are placed along the sides of the dish and the ice cream. Spoon some of that mega sauce on there, Hans. That looks nice. That last piece of banana on there. A little more sauce. Yes. We're going to add our strawberry for flavor and for color. It's going to be good. Bananas Foster.
We hope you enjoyed Cooking with Marijuana, the gourmet menu. So until we meet again, this is Hans and Hans saying bon appetit. My name is Hans. If I could, I'd like to speak with you for just a moment. We hope that this video has shown you that cooking with marijuana can be a very safe, easy, and economical method for enjoying marijuana. We highly recommend that you follow our recipes and our advice when cooking with marijuana. Remember, marijuana can be 4 times more potent when eaten. Be careful with your proportions when cooking. We encourage you to experiment with all of these recipes, but only sample one at a time. Flavor these scrumptious dishes to taste and try different strains of marijuana to experience their various effects. Marijuana, all natural, organic, and chemical-free. It has been used and accepted by peoples all over the world for over 500 years. Only recently, marijuana has been criminalized and become victim to a misinformation campaign by the U.S. government. The war on drugs is a failure. The United States is spending billions of dollars and is destroying thousands of families by incarcerating non-violent marijuana offenders. That could be you or me. These laws are misinformed, illogical, and counterproductive. Hans supports NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. We donate 1% of this net profit from this video collection to support NORML's efforts to end the war on drugs and legalize marijuana. Hans says, think for yourself. Change is in your hands. And look for Hans products in the near future. Thank you very much.
name is Hans, and this is my buddy Hans. Welcome to Cooking with Marijuana, the Gourmet Menu. We're going to show you how to take marijuana and turn it into a more palatable form. The first thing we will demonstrate is how to make marijuana flour. We will then take the flour and show you how to make marijuana butter and marijuana oil. When making marijuana flour, you may use the leaf or the bud. You simply grind it up. When cooking with marijuana, remember that 2 ounces of leaf equals about 14 to 16 grams of commercial marijuana or 4 to 6 grams of excellent homegrown sensimilla, which is what we will be using in all of our dishes. When making marijuana flour from bud, be sure to trim off all of the excess leaves and remove all the stems. We will now take these nice sensimilla buds and put them in the food processor. Now let's blend them up. We have turned marijuana buds into flour. Before we go any further, we would like to give you a little warning about eating marijuana. When you smoke marijuana, you have a joint or so, and you reach a certain plateau. The same is not true when eating marijuana. When you eat it, it may take anywhere from a half of an hour to from the matter by simply straining through a cheesecloth, as we're doing right here. A second extraction of the bud material may be made using a 1/4 pound of butter. It may then be added to the first extraction of butter. The used bud material is then discarded. The THC is now in suspension with the butter. I'm going to let this cool off a bit, then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. The THC in the butter will rise and solidify on the top, and the liquid will remain on the bottom. The butter and water have cooled in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. The butter has returned to its solid form, capturing the psychoactive THC within it. All I have to do now is scoop the butter from the top and place it in this bowl. The original cup of mega bud flour was about 48 grams. This means that for every teaspoon of mega butter in it, there is about 1/2 gram of mega sensimilla bud extract. We therefore suggest you start with 2 teaspoons as a portion and work yourself up from there each time you try it till you discover what is the correct portion for you. We will be using this mega butter in all of our dishes. You may use it wherever you would use butter in most dishes. Don't you worry about the butter having this green color to it. It won't affect any of your cooking at all. And there you are. I guarantee this butter will do the trick. Just a little bit on some rolls with some jelly. Next, we will demonstrate how to blend marijuana into your favorite alcohol. First, we will take our nice dry sensimilla bud and an hour and a half before you start feeling the effect. So you don't want to eat marijuana and say, gee, I don't feel anything, and then immediately eat some more. You should know exactly how much you eat. For our menus, we will be suggesting 1 gram of sensimilla buds per serving. The first thing we will show you is how to make marijuana butter. Chef Hans will place the pound of butter in the large saucepan of boiling water. And there it goes into the saucepan. would just let that melt. To our pound of melted butter, we will add our cup of megabuds. And we'll stir this up occasionally. There's the megabuds into the butter. We will let this low boil for about a half an hour. The liquid is then separated